Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Governor Kenny Gwin wanted other Republican gubernatorial candidates to enter the primary. Well, he's going to get his wish answered today. Wonder if he'll like the choice. Randi Thompson has the rundown.
Yes, we have Senator Bob Beers on today. He's a rookie senator from Clark County and also a CPA and, well, kind of a funny guy. Stick around.
And the fun won't stop there. The Power Pundit panel today, Marlene, Lockard, Martha Gould, and Dick Gammick. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmaker. Hang on.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we welcome to the program the travel editor for Liberty Watch magazine, State Senator Bob Beers. Welcome to the program, Bob.
Good morning.
One of your many hats.
Just a couple of hours ago, you announced that you are, in fact, now running for governor on the Republican ticket.
I have decided to run. Yeah, I've spent the last 4 legislative sessions in Carson City doing the best I could to protect Nevadans' paychecks from the erosion of a wild expansion in our state government. And I think that I'm probably eminently qualified to make it a full-time effort.
Well, speaking of paychecks, you actually were the one that authored the reduction in the payroll tax from 0.65 to 0.63. And not a lot of support there from the business community, but I remember you saying it was a government decision, not a business decision. Were you happy with that? I mean, was it a good move? Or in the sense, why didn't you go after equalizing the payroll tax with the banks?
I think in the business community, that in the representatives of the business community that do the Carson City isolation thing, there was some concern, but I've talked to a lot of people in the wider business community, and it's not really a business community thing. It's really about Nevadans, because that payroll tax is essentially an income tax on the income of Nevadans. And a lot of regular citizens get it. This is $15 million that their employers are going to have available for raises and increases in benefits that they otherwise wouldn't if we hadn't got that on.
Okay.
All right, it's going to take, some are saying, $8 to $10 million to run this governor's race. You going to find H $10 million?
I am precluded from even discussing fundraising until July 8th, which is 30 days after the legislative session. So if you want to give me a call Friday, I'll be happy to chat with you about that question.
You know, you're the first
Until
person
then,
that has avoided answering a
lips are
question,
zipped.
but giving me a day I can call back on. I will
Appreciate
do
that. We'll do
I will
that.
follow up.
Yeah.
Okay, give us, you know, you're a fiscal conservative. Jim Givens is a fiscal conservative, or at least paints himself that way. What are the differences between you two?
I'm running for governor.
Well, let's go with the presumption that Jim Givens is running for governor.
Well, this isn't really about me versus Jim Givens.
It's going to be in the primary.
Well, there's a reason you're getting into the race.
Well, sure.
You don't like the other
I've
candidates.
I've just had 4 legislative sessions working on the budget. The budget is what I think about, and I think that's the biggest problem facing Nevada right now is this out of control increase in our state and in Clark County, our local government spending. And I think I'm preeminent. I mean, this is what I've been doing for the last 8 years. And so I think I'm probably the best guy to do the job.
Okay, 3 words: Givens Tax Initiative. I mean, Jim Givens has taken the lead on this. Give us, if you will, some differences between you and Jim Givens.
I'm running for governor.
Okay, beyond that.
Okay.
And we already heard that he's got more hair than you do, so you can't go there.
I think that's something that folks are going to just have to make their own decisions on as time goes by. I'm not here because I don't like Jim Givens. I'm here because I'm very concerned about the future of this state. Look, I was able to be raised here, grew up, got a college degree, started a business. I've had a pretty successful life, all in the same community as my parents live in. We take that for granted here in Nevada, but in many, many states, kids always have to move away from the parents because the economy has stagnated and you just can't make a living in your hometown. I think it's way cool that my son gets to grow up close to his grandparents. And I would like that same opportunity for my kids and your kids and every Nevadan's kids.
All right, so back to kind of why you're running for governor. Obviously, we saw in the legislature that the fiscal issues are decided by the legislature. What can you do as governor that's going to help control that growth in spending that's been going on?
I have heard a statistic from LCB that no governor's proposed budget has ever been changed by more than 3%.
Okay.
So if you want to bring the rate of growth of Nevada's government down to the rate of growth of Nevada, the best place to do it is as governor.
Okay. Now, the rate of growth this year was what, 30%?
We're right in the middle of a 4-year period where Nevada's government at the state level is growing at about 2.5 to 3 times the rate of combined rates of population growth and inflation.
All right. So what would you propose as governor? What kind of budget do you think
No
you could lay out?
No more growth than the combined rates of population growth and inflation.
All right, so in a way, is your run for governor helping to push along your taxpayers' Bill of Rights that you want to see come into fruition? Which is exactly what you just stated.
The taxpayers' Bill of Rights is going to take 4 years at best to implement. I think a Beers governorship offers implementation in the next budget cycle.
Well, quicker results.
All right, let's take a break, come back much more with Bob Beers running for governor right after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're here with State Senator Bob Beers, who today announced his candidacy for governor on the Republican side. Okay, let's think about this for a second. Say Dina Titus and Richard Perkins get together, and they decide that it's not in their best interests to have a war in the primary, and one of them goes forward. What would you think about that vis-a-vis the Republican primary? That could end up with a Democrat being in Carson City.
That's awfully hypothetical. Say the President of the United States and the Premier of Canada get together and decide to go forward as one nation. Come on
Howard
now,
Cannon.
Sam.
Jim Santini, Howard Cannon, Chick Hecht.
Yeah. You think the Republican will be able to just walk in because the Democrats have a bitter primary again?
I don't know. I was just throwing that out there.
Well, it is a little earlier at least. Gives you a little more time to kiss and make up.
I suspect that we're going to have robust primaries on both sides, and certainly I think on the Republican side, it's not Republican style to bring out the long knives and sharpen them up and slash. And so I don't think you're going to see a Republican primary winner emerge wounded. I'll tell you here right now, whoever the Republican primary winner is, I will be working my butt off for them. Can you see?
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Go no further.
From September through November.
Okay. A couple weeks in August, too, now.
A couple weeks in August, too, now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, how will the early primary affect this race?
I don't know that the early primary is going to have that much of an effect. It's not much earlier. I don't know if you've covered this with your viewers yet, but it's only 2 weeks earlier, and that was primarily to accommodate the needs of the election officers in the counties who now face a more complex task of switching over all the electronic machines from the primary ballot to the general ballot, and they just simply needed more time, so we gave them that time with a couple, 2-3 weeks. Jump on it.
Yeah, well, speaking of time, one of your big bills this past session was the time that school starts. Mm-hmm. And you advocated that since the younger kids get up earlier, they should start school before the high school kids so that your high school kids can sleep in a little bit. Yeah.
I think the science is that once you hit adolescence, you don't have an ability to adjust your biological clock for the first 5-6 years of adolescence. And the point is that high schoolers, we're wasting time teaching our high schoolers starting at 7 o'clock. And by the way, this is purely a Clark County problem. All of the other counties in the state are doing it a more sensible way. And Clark may as well decide in the wake of all the discussion that we had last session that they want to start high schoolers later, yeah.
Because you guys passed something that essentially they're going to study it now? I mean, they're not going to implement something.
I think that was a casualty of the last couple of days, is my recollection.
Okay, do you have concerns as there's a young...
We did have a fun one that required administrators...
We'll just let them go now.
Required administrators to teach for a day a semester.
Oh, I like that one.
And that one got killed, too. But then I got a note from the lobbyist for the Washoe County School District, and she said their new superintendent implemented that as policy.
See? Good ideas. Get implemented. Very good.
I guess I go now.
Okay, you can talk now.
I interrupted.
It is his show.
No, that's fine. That's more than fine. I'm very glad you're here. There's a new young Republican group started in northern Nevada that feels that not only are there tax and spend liberals in both the state and on the federal level, but they're also tax and spend Republicans. How do you feel about this with the largest increase in spending here?
Clearly there are tax and spend Republicans, and I think, I was reading an article this week that speculated that America may be headed for a more than two-party system because the issue of reasonable fiscal policy has actually turned out not to be a partisan issue. yeah, there's probably more Republicans that think it's important, but there are also Democrats that think it's important. And the research is clearly showing that it's something that cuts across party lines.
Now, speaking of reasonable things, the rebate passed. That was initially your idea, even though you're being diplomatic and not taking credit for it. You missed the vote.
Yeah, I was over.
What happened?
I was assigned by Senator Washoe to go over and negotiate the Millennium Scholarship behind closed doors in the Assembly.
And how come they could have the vote without telling you that they were voting on the rebate?
You know, we were trying to get a lot of things, unfortunately, got left to the very last minute. And part of that was a bargaining strategy from the other guys, I'm now convinced. But the bottom line is that we were trying to get an awful lot done in hopes that we could finish up and not have a special session. And I was enlisted in that effort.
Well, Chris G. calls this the Bob Beer special session because of the negotiations on Millennium. Are you happy with what, I guess it was Sheila, Leslie, and Heidi Ganser that kind of worked something out. Are you happy?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
The governor worked something out. I was sent over to represent the governor's position. I represented the governor's position and was told, oh, you're stonewalling, yeah. And finally we ran out of time. A couple hours later, the governor came over and represented the governor's position, and they said, okay, we capitulate. That's how it went down. And, you know, it just may be that after 3 sessions in the minority in the Assembly, the leaders of the Assembly just simply, you know, wanted to test me and kind of feel me out and run me through the ringer and see if I meant what I said. I did.
Yeah.
And now they know that. And in the end, they went with what the governor was suggesting.
But now, in Millennium Scholarships, almost become an entitlement program. I mean, it was initially funded by the tobacco settlement, which we knew was going to decrease. You put $35 million in this year. You've committed to $8 million every year. Yeah. Is this going to be continuing, or do you think Millennium should be sensitive?
It's something that that needs to be addressed in future biennium. We've done a temporary fix, no more than 5 or 6 years. We don't know how long it's been given life because we don't know how the parameters we changed are going to influence the ongoing cost of the program. We will know that in 2 years, and clearly it's something that's going to have to be addressed. You know, obviously right now it is a wide open program that has had the effect at the university level of essentially turning the universities into an extension of high school. Yeah. With all of its pluses and minuses. The pluses are that it's universal education. The minuses are that it's not particularly effective or good education. And so I would definitely like to see the universities become more university-like, have some entrance standards, not offer remedial courses, and do some heavy thinking. And there may be some reforms of the Millennium Scholarship required to get us there. Lots of stuff we could do. We've got a pretty low standard. About 2/3 of our high school grads now qualify. We could tighten that up. We could make it means tested so that rich folks don't get it. There's plenty of room for us to make the Millennium Scholarship continue and be meaningful, but not be a hemorrhage on the state's finances.
Okay, very quick answer to this. Governor Gwynn was looking for somebody to run against Jim Gibbons in the primary. Do you think he's going to stop looking now that you've announced?
Nope.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? They do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And the discussion continues here with our Power Pundit panel today.
And the wacky discussion.
Marlene Lockard is here with Capital Strategies. Washoe County District Attorney Dick Gammick is here. And Martha Gould, political activist. Welcome to all of you. Okay, let's start out with you, Marlene. Your thoughts on Bob Beer's announcing?
I think it's absolutely wonderful. I am very pleased to see him get in the race, and I absolutely agree that it's going to be a robust primary, and I think it'll be very fun to watch.
Dick, Senator Beers was saying that there will be no blood left at the end of this Republican, no bloodletting by the end of this Republican primary.
You know, he was doing pretty well talking about it. When he made that statement, I went, where's he been?
I think blood left was the appropriate term you just said.
Probably more appropriate. That one I had to take exception with, just simply because I don't know of any political things that go on anymore that there's not a lot of bloodletting.
Okay, Martha, what do you see as the difference?
She's got a lot of stuff.
Okay, why don't I just shut up and let you go?
Well, first of all, I have a real problem with anyone who is in an office and has been elected to represent the people in that office. He won't make it. I mean, he won't win. I'm not sure he'd even make it through the primary.
You don't like it that somebody is running for office when they currently
I don't think
so you were
ethical.
mad at Dick Bryan when he did the same thing?
Yes, I was. I didn't think it was right. Not then and not now. To me, that's an ethical issue. The other thing is, and oh dear, you know there's a wonderful Yiddish word, Lockenkopf. You know what it means? Mm-hmm. Okay. When I look at Bob Beers and his run for governor, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Well, you might explain that to the public.
It means, well, it depends on the translation, but basically he's got a hole in his head.
Randy, hang on, Martha. Hang on. No, Martha, we're going to move on. Randy, your thoughts on the differences between Bob Beers and Jim Gibbons?
Well, I think Bob is a lot more of a fighter than Jim is, and Bob is truly a fiscal conservative. He has fought those issues a lot, and even though Gibbons did the tax restraint initiative, that really was more of a getting his name out there and helping him get elected to, at the time, governor and then to Congress. So those are, and I believe that Jim is a conservative too, but Bob is a die-on-the-sword conservative, and when it comes to getting people that are concerned about the growth of government, he is, I think, from the perception of the Republicans and the fiscal conservatives, he is the candidate.
You know, it's interesting because you talk about being a fiscal conservative. This is a rapidly growing state. There are enormous needs. There are social needs, education needs, infrastructure needs. And you talk about, well, we have to cut back on government spending. If you're going to have economic development, if you're going to have quality of life issues, then government does play a role there, and there is a cost, whether you like it or not.
He's not saying cut back. He's saying grow with the environment, grow with the economy, grow with the growth.
But
3,
at the
4,
same
5,
time,
6%, not 30%.
But at the same time, remember that we have not addressed a lot of these issues, and the longer you don't address issues, the more expensive it's going to be with the growth.
Okay, I want to.
And I'm not sure
we've got to let the other guys in.
this.
They're jumping at the bit here. Dick, why don't you jump in?
Bob Beers' premise is that we're in good shape today, or have been in good shape, and this is the base to start from, and then we just restrict this growth all the way through. I think him coming into the race is going to be good because he is going to bring that ultra-conservatism fiscally into the race and making real awareness of it. But I've said time and time again, this whole thing is a balancing act. You can't just come across the board and say, we're not going to spend money. You've got to look at everything you're doing and what the expectations of the public are and what they want and what they're willing to spend money for and what you got to look at the whole picture.
But Martha, hang on.
Hang on
a second, Martha. Marlene is getting in here. I want to ask, but isn't that the whole idea of Tabor is that if you want to have anything beyond the budget, that you go to the people and have a vote of the people? So you could get what Dick's suggesting, couldn't you?
But it's very difficult, and in Colorado it has proved unworkable, and the governor of Colorado is even trying to repeal Tabor because because in reality, when you tie your hands and handcuff the lawmakers and you can't respond to emergencies in a timely way.
Well, wasn't part of the problem they didn't have a large enough rainy day fund?
Yep.
And Carol Villarda was saying here on the program that you should have about 10% of your budget, which would be about $570 million, just for those kind of contingencies.
But it's a temporary repeal. He's not trying to get rid of Tabor. He's trying to say, give me a couple of years to catch up. So they want a little more flexibility. And I think in what we do here, if Tabor moves forward, I think there will be some flexibility in that.
Okay, I want to go around the table real quickly here on a different topic. B of A announced today that they're going to pull their bank out of Virginia City. Is this, and there were other rural communities that they were planning to pull their banks out of as well. Is this the bank industry's response to what happened to the legislature, Marlene?
Well, I don't know what their motive is for doing that. I do know that the banks have had record profits over the last couple of years, and then to penalize the rural parts of this state, I think it's not being a good community
citizen. Okay, the banks aren't
citizen.
penalizing the rules. The legislature penalized the rules.
The banks are making record profits. $7,500 is not going to break the Bank of America.
I'm not sure where the legislature hurt the banks. The banks are the ones that got the biggest
2%
break.
tax?
So what?
And
Other business. What gambling get? Gambling got hit a lot harder than that.
Then
the
I'm
banks
saying
got
let's make
hit
it equitable.
very lightly, and I think one of the things they should do, especially on these big multinational banks, is if they're going to come into our state to do business, then there's a certain responsibility. They serve all the population, not just the ones that are going to make them more money. I got to agree with that.
Hang on a second, you're starting
Wait
to
a
sound
minute,
like
Dick.
a Democrat,
I'm gonna get you
socialist. We're out of time. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. Good Lord.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
Coming up tomorrow, Harry Reid.